Hey guys, it's those Utah sisters, and today we're sharing one of our students' favorite games, Pie Face. So, in order to find instructions for this game, you can access it on our website, www.thoseutahsisters.com. Search through the games until you see this one called Pie Face. Click on it, and that will take you to our instructions. So, a few materials that you're going to need for this game, you are going to need the Pie Face game. And if you are able to get your hands on a couple of games, that makes it even more fun. You're going to need whipped cream, the pre-made PowerPoint template, which I'll show you in just a second, a recording sheet per student, dice, and then cleanup materials such as wipes, paper towels, and tablecloths to cover your floor. All right, so let's first talk about this PowerPoint template. You are going to first need to download this template. You need to click File, create a copy, and then download a copy. You have to download it to your computer in order to edit and add your own questions. So it's very important that you first download the PowerPoint. All right, I have it downloaded. So here I'm going to go through and create my game with my own contents questions. Now, a couple of things. You'll notice right here on the pie, there's a number. That is the number of turns the student has to take on the pie machine if they answer correctly, the number of twists. So you can edit that number, but just a heads up, you want your harder questions to have a higher number, okay? Harder questions, higher number. All right, so go ahead and pre-make your template. You'll notice all different point values here. 9 twists on the game. You want that to be one of your more difficult questions, but you are able to edit these if you choose to change the values. Once you have your template made and the games, you have access to the games, you are ready to start playing. So in order to set up this game, first you want to prep the area by covering tables and floors with plastic tablecloths, setting up the pie face games, and placing paper towels or wipes nearby so that way you have easy cleanup. Divide your students into table groups and make sure you are clear. Someone at every table must be willing to get pied. So they can stay at their table or rotate, but before they sit down and make a group, you need to be clear. Someone in the group has to be willing to get pied or they need to find someone else. All right? Pass out the recording sheets where students will solve each question individually and record their answers before discussing with a group. All right, so here's how it's going to play. First, you're going to show a question on the PowerPoint. Each one will include a number of, quote, turns for the pie face game. The harder the questions, the more turns. That's what I was telling you about this number right here. Students will work independently and then discuss their answers as a team. The group agrees on a final answer. Then you are going to roll a dice at the front of the table or use a name draw or a pre-planned order, something like that. You're going to roll a dice and call on the group's number of what you rolled, okay? If that group answers correct, they have two options. They can choose one of their teammates to walk up to the pie face game. I'm going to go back so you can see the picture right here. To walk up to the pie face game and take a turn willingly. If nobody in the group wants to, they are able to sabotage another team, and that team has to send someone up to the pie face game to take the number of turns or twist the handle the number of times that is built into that PowerPoint template, okay? All right, so they're going to take the turn. The student walks up to the pie face game. The teacher loads it with whipped cream, and the student spins the dial the number of times. Now, this game is random, so it's not going to, the whipped cream isn't going to be thrown every time they rotate. It's a random number. Sometimes it's every 3, sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 1. It just depends. All right. Now, if a student answers incorrectly, we talked about what they do if they answer correctly. If they answer incorrectly, someone from their own table must be pied. All right, so if you answer correctly, you have the choice. Somebody can be pied or you can sabotage another team. If you answer incorrectly, someone from your team has to be pied. All right, then they're going to take the turn. If they get pied, if the pie flies, you are going to clean it up as a teacher, clean it up, whatever, and then they go sit back down. If not, if the pie isn't flied, they spin it 3 times and the handle never goes off. Their turn is over. They just go sit back down, and then you, as the teacher, will clean up the area. This continues over and over until the PowerPoint is done, or you are all the way through the questions, or your time is up. Now, a couple tips and tricks for this game. Always reset between players. That whipped cream is going to melt really fast, so make sure that you clean it up and put out fresh whipped cream for the next player. Next is, if you're able to get more than one machine, you can involve more students and it's more fun. You can also call on multiple tables if you have multiple machines to answer every question. And then the last little tip or trick that we have is you can allow students, if they choose, to take pictures of themselves or recordings of themselves being pied. It's up to the students if they want to post on social media. However, it does create a fun little atmosphere, and we obviously want students to be seen having fun in school. That's our goal of doing all of this. So let them have fun depending on the level or the rules within your school or your state. But if you play this game, be sure to tag us at those Utah Sisters. Have a great day.